So, this is going so well so far. Let's see, new tips. Let's see. Hey, Mion. Here. Oh, what is it, Kei-chan? I thrust the bento box she given me yesterday at her face. It had the food you gave me in it. Thanks. It was great. Uh, Mion's face quickly flushed bright red. Hey now, you're the one pretending to be Shion when you gave it to me. You're gonna give it away if you get all red like that when you're being Mion. This rate, she might trip and fall right into her own grave, so I decided to help her out. Listen, I was pretty hungry yesterday. Out of the blue, Shion came all the way to my house and gave me some food in a bento box. This is that box. Make sure you wash it out. Right. Shion's really considerate, huh? That was so transparent. Was Mion always this terrible at lying? Her expression was different than usual, but it looked strangely cute. So, what'd you think? You two are like peas in a pod. You're twins, right? Obviously, you look the same. Not that. Mion looked kind of bewildered, like she was waiting for a specific answer. When she said impression, didn't she? Maybe she didn't mean Shion, but the bento. Oh, of course. It was delicious. Really? I never lie about liking food. If I say something's good, then it's objectively good. You can feel free to give my recommendations to every single person you meet. Tell Shion it was seriously great, alright? Ah, okay. Tell Shion, right? I will. I think she'll be happy. We're going along with Shion having given it to me, not Mion, aren't we? Yet her laugh, it came from deep down and it sounded really happy. I guess she really can laugh nicely enough that just looking at her makes me feel better too. A sarcastic remark made its way onto my tongue, but I swallowed it back. As Mion went to put the bento box in her bag, she noticed a clattering noise. Keishon, there's something inside, huh? Wow. She opened it. The thing inside was a little embarrassing, so I wish she hadn't opened it here. Panicky, I hid it with my hands. Well, this is what my mother told me to put them in as thanks. I didn't come up with it or anything. Don't get the wrong idea. So pretty. Candy. There's a handful of candies nicely wrapped in paper inside a sparkly clean bento box. When I was cleaning the box out yesterday in the sink, Mom came over and interrogated me, and I fessed up as to who had given me the food. Then she told me that something like this called for a display of gratitude. I didn't want to because it was embarrassing, so I argued that it wouldn't be like me to do that. Well, that's what happened. I was so embarrassed it felt like fire might shoot out of my face. Mion laughing the whole thing off like she usually did would be fine, but for some reason she was staring at the candy in the box with fascination. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank my mom. She put them in there. Besides, you're not the one I need to be thinking, right, Mion? Those are for Shion, okay? Right. You're right. Okay. I'll be sure to tell Shion. I just know she'll be happy. Mion looked a little downtrodden and put the lid back on the box. Seemed like I ended up saying something a little mean at the end. Me-chan, you look sort of cozy today. Did something happen? Did it? Perhaps she's caught a fever. The red in her face is probably due to the increased body temperature. Hey Rico, why are you petting my head? Sakuto, I'm sure you'll be able to catch fever soon enough. Pet. Okay. I might have explained this before, but physical ed in our school is really just an excuse in disorder. After some random warm-ups, the rest of the time is spent doing whatever. You're free to cause a ruckus or just fall asleep. I'm not really sure, but doesn't the Board of Education have some sort of curriculum for this? Something like, when you're this old, you should have this amount of physical ability. I have no idea what you're saying, Kiichi. It's very difficult to understand. Well, you see, it's something like a rule for teachers to follow during class. Maybe you weakling city folk need something like that, but do you really think us country raised kids would lag behind in physical ability? Mm. We're better athletes than you would think, Kiichi. Come to think of it, they might be right. If we all lined up for a race, and there was a good chance I finished dead last if I didn't start off well. Let's just pray that when a brutal penalty game is at stake, a 100-meter dash isn't a club activity. On that note, I watched too much television, so I'm frantically tired. I'll be using this time to catch up on my sleep. It's fourth period and I'm completely starved. If I don't sleep now, when will I ever? As I began to sprawl out on top of a pipe, Mion grabbed me by the collar. Ugh. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Do you really think I let you sleep in peace and quiet? With that look on your face, it would require more courage to try and take a nap than not. Good grief. Which means, is it going to start again? Now, just killing time with idle chit-chat until the bell rings is impossible for us hot-blooded youth, isn't it? God damn it. How do I know it's going to be a club activity? Shall we start a club activity? Just as I thought, it's come to this. What's today's game? If I remember correctly, it should be the zombie tag. Now, that this is happening, taking a nap is impossible. Not just that, with this sleep-deprived head of mine, I'm as good as mincemeat. I have to get my brain into gear. Rena thinks that we should decide what today's penalty game should be before we start. Ah, shit. Rena knows what's up. I've prepared something super special today. She begins to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish. But before she could do that, I'm sorry, I have something that I wanted to do. Of all people, is Rika announcing her non-participation. Even rare events do eventually occur. Losing her time, Mia spun like a top as she tumbled to the ground. What? What's the matter? Are you not feeling well? Oh, that's right, Michan. She has to practice for the Watanagnashi. That's right. It's this Sunday. Rika is in the middle of super serious training right now. I've been working too hard lately, so my arms hurt. I see. Well, there's nothing that can be done. There's no point in doing anything if we can't get everybody together. Today, let's just take it easy. I'm very sorry. I'll try my best. Yeah, good luck. We'll be cheering you on. When Mion announced that today's club activities was cancelled, Rika and Sakata headed off behind the school building. Only I was left alone, completely clueless as to what everybody was talking about. What was that about? Is Rika training for competition or something? Rika is a shrine main for the Watakanashi, so she has to perform a ritual dance. It's practice for that. Why don't you explain things in order? First of all, what is this Watakanashi? Next, what do you mean by shrine maiden? Last, what do you mean by ritual dance? Huh? Didn't you get to notice at your house, Kei-chan? Wasn't it written there? The Watakanashi festival is this Sunday. Huh? Come to think of it, I had a feeling Mom did say something about it during dinner the other day. The Watakanashi is a festival that happens at the shrine on a Sunday every June. It's very lively. My nose. I see, but Watakanashi sounds like a pretty strange name. Kind drifting. Is it something like the Lantern Festival where they have a memorial for the dead by floating things down the river? Well, I figured you might guess right, Kei-chan. The Watakanashi, or Kind Drift Festival, is, as the name implies, where we set kind adrift down the river. The kind you see is from futons or jackets, so it'll be something like a futon memorial. They also pile futons up on an altar. I've heard of people leaving offerings of things like needles or kitchen knives to their ancestors or to casualties of war, but an offering of futons is a first for me. What's the history behind that? Mion tilted her head pensively. Ugh, I can't speak. I don't think there's a complicated backstory to it. The winters around here are pretty harsh, so things like warm futons and coats to ward off the cold are fairly important, I guess. Ah, I see. In other words, it's something like giving thanks to the futons that took care of you during the winter then. Then the Shrine Maiden holds a memorial service for them and sets them adrift. That's what the Watsunashi is. Mion ran and dictated that I had the correct answer with a round of applause. And you see, a Shrine Maiden for a memorial is Rika. Oh, so Rika is a Shrine Maiden. Now that you mention it, Rika does have a mystical air about her. Other reasons. Right. Rika is in a Shrine Maiden outfit. Ooh. Gah. So cute. I can't believe I'm actually reading that. It certainly does seem like it would suit her. Yeah, it might be cute. I finally get what you're saying. Rika's training is for her performance as a Shrine Maiden, then. That would be it. The Shrine Maiden has to purify a number of futons as part of the ceremony. It's practice for that. It's a lot of hard work. The Shrine Maiden has to carry a large ceremonial hoe as part of the rite, and it's really heavy for Rika. Well, Rika is pretty small. Exactly how heavy is that hoe? It's pretty heavy. Enough that Rika has been practicing with a mochi outlet. Wait a minute. That's way too heavy. Forget about Rika. That'd be rough even for me. It's a sacred ceremonial hoe. If she dropped it by accident, it'd be big trouble. Well, it's once a year kind of deal. All we can do is cheer from the sidelines. It'll be okay. She's pulled it off. She pulled it off last year. Really? Then the least I can do is cheer her on. Even something that little would help, right? I was rather curious about exactly how she practiced. Mion laughed as she shook her head. Leave her alone. If you go, Rika will get all cute and won't be able to practice. I didn't quite understand what Mion was saying. You see, Rika doesn't like showing people how hard she works. Okay? So just leave her be. Even the always cool and aloof Rika has times when she sweats while giving it her all. Because she was always so well put together, she didn't want people to see that ungainly side of her. It's not like I couldn't understand that feeling. All I can do is pray for her success, huh? Do your best, Rika Fude. I'm cheering for you. Well then. I climbed up onto the pipe and plopped down on my side. Nap time! Hooray, Rika! Or to transmit more of my physical waves of encouragement, I'll be entering a meditative state now. Shh. So you're just going to sleep after all. Whack! Ah! God damn it. The lack of dismal noontime ended up giving way to numbing afternoon classes. Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for lunch today, leaving me in a horrible condition. Might have gorged myself a bit too much. I'll have to endure afternoon classes. Keiichi, you had an amazing appetite today. Basically, you always eat like a pig, but today was a whole different level. Yesterday I skipped lunch, right? That hunger just soaked right in. This time, no matter how much I ate, my hunger knew no bounds. I get you. But really, Kei-chan, you always finish your lunch down to the last bite. Heck, even down to the last grain of rice. With food, you show your appreciation for the person who made it by eating it, you know. If you leave any behind, it's rude to the person who put in all the effort. Hearing that, Mion's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh. Kei-chan, really? At first glance, you seem unruly and irresponsible, but you're actually pretty conspicuous. Well disciplined or something like that. Oh yeah, Rena thinks so too. Thinks so too. Keiichi is a lot kinder than he looks. Both of them were probably trying to compliment me, but I had a strange feeling I wasn't being complimented at all. Ouch. That's not true. I just wanted to say that there's a big gap between your appearance and your personality. And I'm saying that's not a compliment. Hey, Sazaki Mabar, we're in the middle of class. How far did you get, Sonozaki? Bring your notes up here. Startled, Mion vocalized a rare, easy to understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation she had stopped working completely. Oh, doing alright. Yeah, progress at all. You're in the highest grade, so you have to shape up. That Mion. Looks like she's getting lectured. Poor bastard. Appearances can't be deceiving, in other words. Actually, appearances might be the opposite of reality. Hmm? You say some interesting things. Responding to Rena's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Sakato was happily studying together with Rika. Are you saying that brat Sakato is actually really meek? If I went by what Rena literally said, then that would be the case. I can hardly imagine Sakato being meek and gentle like a girl in some fairy tale. Sakato's been rude lately, but just a while ago she was pretty different. She acted really spoiled and always. Yep. Keep this a secret from Sakato, okay? That Sakato acting so cute. Yeah, a year ago when Satsuki was still alive. For Sakato to play coy, I think that would have to be some part of some calculated plot. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attracted. Yeah, attracted to him. As soon as it came up, I tried to imagine a gentle and coquettish Sakato. That happened. Hey Sakato, was it Onisama? Ugh. Oh, God damn it! That just reading that, thinking Sakato. Hell no. Sakato smiled cutely and walked toward me. By the way, for every 3 steps forward Sakato took, for some reason I took 3 steps away. Hmm? Misama, why are you running away? Sorry, Sakato. For you to approach me with an affectionate smile on your face, I just have to think it's some sort of trap. That's so mean. Oni-sama, you meanie. Sorry, I didn't intend to be so mean. The mean Sakato came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. Click, clank. Huh? A bear trap. My leg was being clamped down on by jagged metal teeth. You fell for it. Now for the best part. Sakura raised her right arm, triumphantly traps, gonna trigger one after another. Suddenly, the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away. And there I saw a giant metal ball covered in spikes hurtling toward me. On top of that, in the direction the ball would knock me, was a giant guillotine. I'm not really sure, but Kiichi, you're not thinking of anything completely ludicrous right now, are you? Not really, not at all. That's a lie. You've got the kind of look on your face that says I'm going to be crushed by a giant spiked metal ball. How could my expression convey what I was thinking like that? Sorry. Imagine a meek and gentle Sakato. It's impossible right now. I'll try again when I'm in better shape. Next, I looked over at Rika, who was working diligently on some kanji drills. In contrast to Sakato, her default state was meek and gentle. If Rika came to me saying Oni-sama, I'd hug her tightly. I could get used to that. Keiichi, you're drooling. Sorry. Then how about Rika? Are you saying that her appearance is deceiving as well? Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Was Rika really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she really was quite sly. Sweetly, how do you put it? Evadingly, invading things differently. I get the feeling that Rika isn't only just sweet, her appearance is definitely deceiving. I couldn't put exactly what I was imagining into words, but Rena managed to say what I wanted to. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes, like she's saying, you shouldn't say something like that. Or when Rika grows up, I'm sure she'll become an incredibly devilish beauty with men wrapped all around her little finger. Don't you think it would be cool? Rena said that lightheartedly, but I, as a man, couldn't laugh at that. The scary part about that was that it felt like it could be true. Noticing my glance, Rico turned toward me and let loose a jug smile. Both Red and I, feeling as if it was directed towards personally, had our hearts skip a beat. Oh, so cute. So cute. Rena, your nose is bleeding. Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well then, what about our dear leader, Mion? Stared at her as she tried to weasel her way out of her scolding by the teacher. But Rena stared that unrefined, calculating, conniving Mion also had a side of her that belayed appearances. Then where you then what you're saying is that Mion, despite her appearance, is actually a good person. Mi-chan is a good person. Oh well, that is true. But what I'm trying to say is, yep, I know what you're trying to say, Kiichi. Cause you know that I was struggling to express my feelings as words. Rena smiled even more brightly. Know what? Mi-chan is mysterious, right? She's a girl, but it's like she's a guy. That's right. Mion was more than aware that she was a girl, but it was exactly as Rana said. When Mion livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or girl specifically, but a friend of the same gender. If she were a guy, we'd probably be like two peas in the pod. Although that's the same as it is right now. But you see, even that Mi-chan is actually really feminine. Rana, how much did Mion pay you exactly? That's not true. Sheesh, I'm trying to have a serious conversation, you know. Rana began to pout. Now probably wasn't the right time to joke around. Mi-chan's the club president, so she's trying hard to lead everybody. But she's really a very cute girl. I really don't want you to forget that, Keiichi. Rena's gaze focused off into the distance beyond where Mion was. The Mion that I met at Angel Mort was unimaginably different compared to the Mion that I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job, it was a far cry from the brash and confident Mion. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did so not as Mion, but as Shion. What exactly was Shion to Mion? What kind of person was Mion exactly? Keiichi probably Keiichi probably couldn't even begin to imagine. As if to say it was our little secret, Rena held her finger up to her lips as she giggled. Mion, finally free from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide her embarrassment. This old man, you see, thinks that grade school is enough for everything you need to study for in life. Saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. Mion was actually really feminine. Right. I wonder if I can meet Shion again. I wanted to talk to her again. Clang, clang. The principal waved around the bell that served as the school's chime. The teacher rushed back to the blackboard and began to list everybody's homework assignments. Well, it looks like there's going to be a lot of homework today. Gotta buckle down. Well, then, that means you and Rena. Huh? What do you mean? Appearances can be deceiving. Would that apply to you too? Huh? Keiichi, how do you see me? The Rena Ragu that I knew sometimes took things too far, but was generally a kind and gentle, ideal girl. Really? Really? Then that makes me happy, I guess. If she was the opposite of what she seemed, that would make her. If I were really the opposite. Just trying to say it, I won't be. Just trying to try saying it, I won't be mad. That's what I felt she meant. Rena is. Rena. Rena is. Uh, Even if you were the opposite, you'll still be Rena, right? The question shouldn't have been so nerve wrackingly to answer. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but even saying that took a strange amount of effort. That's not that's not fair, Keiichi. It bothers me when you say it that way. Who? Perhaps unable to endure my silence, Rena's face began to burn red with embarrassment. Oh, great. Rena, Kei-chan, let's go home. Mion walked over and started getting ready to go home. Whenever school is over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. Sadly, I know what the opposite Rena would be. Of course, I've seen the anime, so I know everything that happens in these arcs. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around my pocket on a whim, I noticed something had been that should have been there was missing. What's the matter, Kei-chan? The key to my house I always carry around is gone. Man, where did I lose it? It's fine today since my parents are home, but still, this is bad. That sure is troublesome. Did you forget it somewhere, or did you drop it? Which one was it? Did I take it with me this morning in the first place? Huh. Huh. Kei-chan, did that key have anything that would make it stand out? Yeah, it's on a keychain. It was a blue first seal. Something I made for summer homework a long time ago. Hmm. Does it have its eyes shut like it's taking a nap? Oh, how'd you know? Yeah, that's it. Mion looked away and began to whistle. See, you went for dinner at Angel Mort a couple days ago, right? That night the staff found the key. There was a first seal keychain attached to it. Yeah. As she said, she suddenly grew flustered and added that Shion had told her about it. Huh? So I dropped it then. But aren't you glad they found it? I'm sure they're looking after it for you. That's right. Why don't you go? Shion looks the same as me, so you'll know her by sight. This is a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but to go and meet with Shion. But I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time chatting with this other side of me might be interesting. Half jokingly, I began to think about things like this. Right, Angel Mort, was it? I'll head over to Shion's restaurant and get my key back. While I'm at it, having a nice spot of tea might not be a bad idea. Sound like an English gentleman. It totally doesn't suit you, Kei-chan. Is this the restaurant, the one that Mi-chan's little sister's working at? Yeah, why don't we go together, Rena? Sorry to disappoint you, but I have plans with my father today. Some other time. Rena seemed pretty disappointed about having to miss such a great opportunity. You said they're twins, but do they really look that much alike? Enough to mistake which is which? Yeah, they're totally the same. At least on the outside. Unlike Mion, she's well-mannered and really cute, though. In response to my teasing, Mion pouted and began to argue with me. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mion's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical, they were the same person. I won't say anything. After going home, I changed my clothes and dug my bike out of the garage. Just thinking I would be able to meet Shion again gave me a mysterious feeling. Shion, a name for a different kind of Mion. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had fooled everyone with like that. I noticed I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be that I was looking forward to meeting Shion? Felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was heading towards a new friend's house for the first time. What Rena said about Mion actually being really feminine sprang into mind once again. The guilt from spying on another side of Mion, the self consciousness from being the only one that knew about that side, these feelings mixed together. That was Shion for you. Mion's little twin sister. Until she felt like coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was fine to just call her Shion, right? Mion might be trying to have some fun by acting out a different persona. So I reached the top of the steep hill, the horizon expanded below me. I was almost at the station. Last time I wasn't embarrassed since I was here with Dad, but this time I was alone. I was strangely self-conscious about it. Meet Shion, get my key back. That is all this. That was all this task was supposed to be. As I dwelled around like this, maybe Shion would find me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, Keiichi, my bar? You're just here to get your key back, you know. It's not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over a love letter. Ah. The thoughts inside my head were slowly turning into a jumbled mess. I came to realize that I was downright giddy. That's why, for just a bit, just a tiny little bit, got a little carried away and did something really stupid. I kicked over a parked bicycle that was blocking the sidewalk. It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no need for me to kick it. I definitely think I got too carried away. Dunk, clink, crash. As the three bikes tumbled one after another like dominoes, a loud noise they caused snapped me back to my senses. Ah, shit. The hell you think you're doing? The owners of those three bikes were right there. They looked exactly like what you call thugs up to no good. They lifted their heads up in an opposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I had never heard before. The three of them beelined towards me, the worn down heels of their thin soled shoes slapping noisily against pavement. I could only stare listlessly as if I were watching some far off event that didn't concern me at all. By the time I realized I had been grabbed by the collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. Don't be playing dumb. You knocked them over, didn't ya? Huh? The three dogs were completely ignoring the rules of grammar, but the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like that, my composure drained away, my legs buckled, and my throat grew dry enough to crack. I'm sorry, I accidentally exited my ass. You kicked it, didn't you, dumbass? I was completely at fault, so there was nothing I could say in my defense. As a result, I was pulled even higher. The hell, man? The paint's all scuffed. Yo, Brent, who put you up to this, huh? This is your goddamn fault. The three of them continued to yell at me. I had no idea what each of them was saying. Getting far enraged as I was only listening while dumbstruck, they grabbed an empty plastic crate from a nearby store and began to smash it repeatedly against a telephone pole. Cracks formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. They then slammed it in full force into the shutter storefront. Smash. The shutter let out a frightening loud noise. Still not satisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. This was not normal. It was something you saw often in television or in manga, but I never thought seeing it in person would be this terrifying. I became painfully aware that the safety of civilized society was only held up by such a frail concept as morals. My knees cluttered together noisily. Static began to pepper my vision. This is what you call absolute terror. There was nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. I could only pray for help. The fear I felt was just too much. Would somebody help me? My gaze wandered around about the surrounding area. I was surrounded by these three hoodlums. No way would there be a passerby brave enough to intervene. Wrong. Maybe this is what you call reaping what you sow. If I were a passerby, there would be no doubt that I would ignore what was going on. So was somewhat of a cosmic retribution. Fucking say something. I'll fucking stab ya. Anger yelled loud enough to rattle my eardrums, spewed forth right in front of my face. My warning conscience was forcibly dragged back to the forefront. The dog cocked back his free hand and twisted his body when suddenly a metallic taste filtered through the back of my throat. Chill ran down my spine like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible and grit my teeth. You're making quite the racket, you stupid pieces of trash. Get out of my sight. That voice was a short distance away. Still holding me by the collar, the three oaks spun around to look behind them. Hell, Shion! The fuck you say? Standing there was Shion. I mean Mion. She stood there displaying an imposing stature that I would never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during club. Those were the eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them, the eyes of a raptor. That there was entoping of fear at the same time they were the most reassuring thing in the world. I'll only say this one more time. Let go of Kachon and get lost. Mion, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there was no way those three wouldn't go absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. You fucking bitch! I'll fucking bash your head in. Stop it, Mion. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work. Mion, it's dangerous. So, I knew what I was saying was pathetic, but I couldn't let Mion get involved in this. No matter how you look at it, Mion was only bluffing. But did Mion even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing numbers, little by little. First, it was only businessmen on their way home, stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle shopping, taking a gander. Next, what seems like the owner of some store showed up. It was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around me, there was over about 7 people gathered. Felt different when people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say why, it was because the group that gathered was diverse in age and gender. The three dogs seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Who the hell are these guys? Behind them, at some point, 4 more people of differing clothes and ages had gathered. Yay. A girl who looked to be in middle school, a man wearing a bakery apron, an old lady in a house cleaning smock. More and more people of various ages, their gazes, compared to Mion's, were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized it, over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schools ran in and joined the circle. There were some familiar faces, some of our classmates. Then these people were residents of Hinamizawa. More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In oblivious contrast, the residents of Okutinomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. The fuck are you guys? Go the fuck away! The group surrounding us had suddenly spewed to around 20 people. Completely encircled, the faces of the thugs began to slowly to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Mion included. That made everything completely unnatural and, depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everybody else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. Hello, Oishi. Alright, alright, alright. What's going on? What's going on? It was sudden. Solitary built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle. Oh, officer, good timing. There you go. The extortionist got red-handed. Please arrest him. The fuck? This Brett's the one that's wrong here. Mion, returned to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course the thugs were furious. But now that it's come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss. Okay, okay. Come over here for a second. Come on already. The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them towards the patrol cars. The fuck? Let me go. Where are the victims here? Are you listening, damn it? No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In a blink of the eye, they were crammed inside the two vehicles. They could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible. Are you alright? Are you injured? He was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face. No, not really. Well, that's a bit of a silver lining then. Well then, have a good year. Portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd. Thank you, citizens, for your timely report. Thanks for your efforts, we were able to keep the peace today. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you for your hard work, Detective Oishi. As a citizen, I thank you for your daily efforts. In an honor for the It's an honor for the detective from the first division to come out all this way. The way Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone. It was a coincidence. I happened to hear the call over the radio on my way back from the prefectural office. I just made a little detour. Please keep up the good work. I pray for success in your future endeavors. Hoo 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 hoo. Ah, shucks. It's a good thing there were no injuries, though. Hey, Shisan. We're done here. Let's go. No shit. Well then, have a good year. I'm sorry, could you make way? Detective named Oishi, after jovially making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. Quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars had left, Mion snapped her fingers sharply. Alright, that's a wrap. And don't come back. That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everybody began smiling. The middle-aged man helped me up. Are you okay, young Mabara? Next time, pick your fights a bit better. It's not like I wanted to fight. Are you hurt anywhere? If you hit your head, it would be a good idea to get x-ray taken. A little later, I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury. You were lucky this happened right in front of the station when it was busy, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to gather as many people. Next time, be more careful. City kids these days are pretty unruly. Grumble. I was even warned by the old lady in the smoke. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me. Well, you're pretty good, Kei-chan, but I also think you should be more careful about who you pick a fight with. Thanks, Mio. You saved my bacon there. Like I said, I'm Shion. She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downward, blushing in embarrassment. I heard from my sister that first sealed keychain was yours, Kei-chan. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was just heading to the restaurant. And you ended up feeling so excited that you got mixed up in something weird. That was my turn for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit, but she was on spot. Well, I was just unlucky. But you really saved me, Shion. You don't have to thank me. So if you see somebody else getting bullied, help them out, okay? We value that kind of thing very highly here. I was well versed in that sense of camaraderie. But the way I was raised, you just know, something seemed a little off about that. Sonozaki's. While I was helped out, it was honestly as if an almost disturbing degree. You're coming to the restaurant, right? You must be tired, so why don't you relax a bit? My treat. Seems like she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. God damn. Here we go. After cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little, I realized I was still on edge. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I had been so stiff with nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee. Here you go, iced coffee on the house. Just bring this coupon with you to the register and it'll be no charge. My patheticness really knew no bounds, but since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Even though it had started out with such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I had completely ruined it. But really, you really saved my hide there. Come I've really come to see you as reliable. Even I was scared, but Kei-chan was in trouble, so I had to be brave and do my best. While a little embarrassed by what she just said, Shion made a show of folding her arms boldly. Shion, really, thank you. I was thinking Shion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really, thank you. Now, cheer up a little. If you feel indebted, then when you have the chance, you should help somebody in need. Like, for example, if I'm ever in trouble, please come and save me. Yeah, of course. It's a promise. You absolutely have to. Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise. So if I'm ever in trouble, Kei-chan will come and save me. I hope trouble comes soon. Ah, you finally smiled. God damn it. She said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek. A downturn toward Kei-chan is as good as an imposter. Come on, smile, smile. That tickles. Stop. Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of the incidents finally began to relax a little. When you're in a better mood, don't you get a little hungry? I'm kind of hungry, so I want to eat some pancakes or something. Do you want some too, Kei-chan? I wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint really wasn't my thing. That's why I replied without any. They're good, right? Pretty picky when it comes to pancakes. Don't worry, our pancakes have a pretty good reputation. Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kind of weird. Hey, speaking of that, wasn't Shion in the middle of a shift? She's been slacking off while talking to me. Told my uncle that you saved me when I was surrounded by hoodlums, so he's rewarding you. So I have the manager's permission. That's exactly the opposite of what happened. Is that alright? It's perfectly fine. By the time the pancakes arrived, we had entered into a relaxed conversation. As the two of us ate pancakes, we livened the mood with some chit chat about what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. Hobbies, food, really nothing more than idle chit chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey now, that's funny talk, Keiichi Mabara. Shion and Mion are the same person. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Mion admitted she was Mion. But given that, how come our conversation was this different? Duh. Kei-chan, you don't think of my sister as a girl, do you? That's not true. If she were a girl, I punched the living. If she were a guy, I'd punch the living daylights out of her. I think the reason you guys get along so well is because you have that kind of platonic relationship. It's a pretty rare and inevitable thing to have, don't you think? I don't get what you're saying, but it really would be a waste to treat her like a girl. Hey, Kei-chan, that's sexist. Hearing the word sexist was cause for introspection. Well, what was our prejudice against Mion and Shion for? Mion was Mion, She was the best friend a guy could have, no more reservations, and head and shoulders above me when it comes to club activities. If I had met her 5 years earlier, my life would have probably been a lot more fun. Of this, I have no doubts. Then what about Shion? She was Mion's little sister and hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Her relationship was much more distant, as the only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. And for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met 3 days ago only because I was a friend of her sister's. The difference between Mion and Shion: friendliness, familiarity. Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I had stopped listening to Shion. Hypothetical, okay? Are you listening? Sorry. Yeah, I'm listening. This is just a hypothetical question, okay? Both me and my sister are in trouble, okay? We're dangling off the side of a cliff. Which one of us do you save? You can only save one. She wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice. That's not a nice question. I want to save you both, but I can't do that, right? Right. You only save either Shion or Mion. Yeah, fuck it! I don't care. Break the rules. Who do you save? For Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as it's something she could easily get out of herself. But what about the normal frail Shion? I guess I'd have no choice. It's not my sister, right? Me and Shion were different people. I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm nor deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze was locked firmly to mine. In other words, that's it, isn't it? My sister is. Huh? Sorry, I messed up what I was trying to say. She was trying to talk in a light-hearted manner, but I felt like there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put a finger on exactly what it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation around. More importantly, just now, were you surprised when everybody kept showing up? Of course I was. If it were Ren or Sakuto, that would have been one thing. But for all those people, young and old together, they were all from Hinamiya, right? Yeah, that's right. Everybody in Hinamiya, yes, I keep screwing that up, I know, is pretty close knit. An enemy of one is the enemy of all. Nobody is going to look on from the sidelines. They're a pretty reliable group of residents. If somebody's being picked on, then everybody unites to get rid of the bully. Kind of sounds like the Mafia or the Yakuza brand of unity. Shouldn't say something like that. It's something you should be thankful for. You were saved by that unity, weren't you? Never forget to show your appreciation. I half-heartedly agreed. I knew full well I should be appreciative. Everybody really is close-knit, aren't they? Maybe it's because of tradition. Hinamizawa has been in danger of becoming a ghost town on several occasions. There's been a history of the villagers uniting together each time to fight for the village's continued existence. For example, Kichan, did you know about the Himizawa Dam Project? Okay, this is when we learn about the Dam Project again. Anything that they don't explain with this story, I will explain myself. Himizawa Dam Project. Let's see, I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before. About 10 years ago, there was a sudden proposal to build a dam here, which would have submerged Himizawa underwater. Oh, that story, I think I heard my dad talk about that. But I'm pretty sure the plan was cancelled, right? We made them cancel it. Everybody banded together. So that was a well-earned victory. That sounded pretty much like the story I heard. The protests intensified to the point where it was featured in newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended. The whole story with the dam apparently started before I was born. First proposal was only for exploratory purposes or a small dam to control erosion. But then the cat was let out of the bag. It if it were completed, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Higurashi, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went so far as to go to the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. Previously, the landowner sued the government, stating that there was inconsistencies within the purchase agreement and the transaction should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired land split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project. It was all very precious when the land acquisition was still about money. Eventually, they started relying on eminent domain in order to seize land. It started at that point. The riot police began to get violent. Riot police? You mean the police? Why would they act violent? They punched, they kicked. There was a time I was hit. Right around here, I think. My skin split open and a whole lot of blood spilled out. Saying that Shion indicted her temple by poking at it. What happened to the police? Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kind of strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed or something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish proof of who exactly hit you, and they could justify their actions by saying you were interfering with police duties. My nana went off like a firework. After that, it was amazing. Like a full-scale war, we weren't just going to sit by and idly file complaints. We went on the offensive. First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary... Ah, damn it, clicked the wrong button. Temporary injunction in court. Then, in order to gain public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Higurashi was a valuable nature preserve. They preserved the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying that the prefectural governor ignored his consultants when he approved the project and demanded his recognition. They completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Higurashi, the ferocious conflict worthy of being called the Dam War began. In order to suppress the police's brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the raid squad members to the public. And on top of that, they put together a special exposed themed around the government repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT team had their hands cuffed. Day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help gain our support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Higurashi. Either that bore fruit or the government finally decided against it. It was announced that the dam project was indefinitely suspended just a few years ago. 5 years precisely. We did everything we could. The entire village banded together and fought. At that time, we were desperate, but now that it's over, it has actually become a pretty good memory. The villagers feeling the solidarity and unity still hasn't faded. Shion said that as she focused off into the distance. I felt that those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride. This kind of solidarity is pretty nice. You don't see it too often. Bridging the generation gap and unifying the region. I think so too. The dam project was a trial. I think that just the fact we were able to overcome it, it was huge. The fear I was feeling until now gradually began to fade. Okay, parts that they did not say about the dam project. Yes, it was a fight, protest, and everything else. The part that Shion's not mentioning, they might mention it later, is one of the people that was working on the dam was killed and dismembered. This was from the first chapter. That's why I mention it now, in case they don't mention it later. Body was dismembered and cut into pieces. They still have not found a piece of his body, which is what started the whole entire events that we're going to be seeing with the Kind of Drifting Festival. But we'll see how that goes. When people began to show up one after another while I was engaged in those dugs, I thought it was frightening. But now I felt like, from the bottom of my heart that I had been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death. The sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem imprudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been in Himazao when the protest against the dance was going on, I might have been able to share in that sense of solidarity. Kei-chan, you weren't here at the time, so I don't think you can fully feel the solidarity of the village. But everybody shares it, thoroughly, even with somebody who just moved here like you, Kei-chan. She couldn't have been more right. So many people got together to help me out when I just moved here, even though they were strangers whose names I didn't even know. A hot feeling began welling up inside of me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. I thought that was natural, but here, that was all absurd and pathetic. That was an absurd and pathetic thing. Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was acutely aware of those feelings as they gradually welled up inside of me.